All right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. So if you're grabbing a drink, go ahead and grab a seat, and we will be getting started right now. So if this is my first time meeting you all, my name is Elizabeth. I run an online design school called Design as a Party. I've been training designers how to use AI tools in their process and also do a lot of teaching around visual design and creating portfolios. You can see some of my work here on my website at designasaparty.com. And so today we'll be exploring Figma Make, which is Figma's newest tool. It's really, really cool, and I hope you enjoy exploring it today in the session. Before we get started, I want to make sure that everyone has access to all the learning materials from the workshop today. You can visit bit.ly/sept/figma/ or I can't even pronounce this out loud right now. You can read it, but this is the link. Make sure you open this because there are a lot of prompts and things that you can click on here that will be relevant to the workshop. If you are joining us from online, I will send the link in the chat. Okay, so once you click on that bit.ly, you should see this page here. And so today we'll be working through this page here, a few important things. So we'll be sharing our work with FigJam. And so there's two different FigJams that you can join. The first FigJam is the New York City in-person FigJam. And the second FigJam is the online attendee FigJam. So make sure you click on the right one. The links to the FigJams are at the top of the Notion page. So go ahead and click on the FigJam for your corresponding location. And the reason why we're dividing up this way is because I think if we're all in the same FigJam might like crash. I'm not sure. So we're kind of separating into two groups to make it a little bit easier. So once you're in FigJam, I should see your cursor here. Nice. So this is the New York City group, and this is the online group. So we have all these people in New York City and all these people online, which is really cool. So for our introduction activity, I'm going to be asking everyone to create a name tag using Figma Make that kind of represents you, represents your style, and we'll kind of use this as a way to introduce yourself to the group because we have a lot of people here. So if you've never made a Figma Make before, the easiest way to make a Figma Make is to open a new tab in Figma. And you can open a new tab by doing Command T if you are on a Mac computer. And on the right side, you should see Make. So to create a Make, you basically click Make, and you'll see this page here, which is basically like a big search input. If you go back to the Notion, I'm going to be telling you to go to this Notion so often today. The first tutorial here is make a name tag. And so that's what we're going to be doing first. Then we might take a brief break to eat pizza when it comes, and then we'll go back and learn how to integrate a design with Supabase, which is a database. So go ahead and click on make a name tag. And you should see this. On this page, there are a lot of different prompts you can try for how you might create a name tag. In the FigJam, you'll notice that I have a name tag here that I will open. So this is like a name tag I created. It didn't take that many prompts, but you'll see that I had a lot of fun with it. I like made it rotate around. And so I encourage you all to be creative with this. When you're getting started with your name tag, you can try using the prompt here that says make a digital name tag in the style of whatever you want it to be, and then say like my name is Elizabeth, and then write some sort of description about yourself. I'm going to go ahead and try that prompt on my end and see what I get. So make a digital name tag, maybe in the style of like 8-bit. And we'll kind of see what Figma Make creates. And so if it's your first time exploring a AI generative tool, you might notice that even if you type the same prompt as me, you'll get something drastically different. And so when you're working with these AI tools, it's really important to experiment. It's also important to know that the results may vary. So someone next to you might get a completely different result from you, and that's okay. And it's part of the fun of it. And so for the next like 15 to 20 minutes or so, I'm going to ask all of you to iterate on your name tag. So this is what I got. It looks okay, but so this is what I got. And so iterate on your name tag for the next 15 minutes or so, 15 to 20 minutes or so. When you're done, you're going to paste a screenshot or a video into the FigJam. And also, you are going to take a little selfie using the photo booth, which I'm going to try doing right now, but the mic is blocking my face. So you can take a selfie with the photo booth. Okay, I was making a weird face, but it's okay. So you're going to take a selfie with a photo booth so that we know who you are. And then you will publish your Figma Make and share it. And then to incentivize the people in New York City, we have some swag here for the most popular name tags. So if your name tags are voted the most popular, we have some cool socks and Figma water bottles. So you should try hard. Okay, back to it. So I'm going to be showing you some examples of prompts I might put in the chat, but really, again, be as creative as you want. If you're new to Figma Make, you might notice that there is no like obvious undo button. But if you want to undo, basically you scroll up to the previous prompt that you did, and there is a little like undo button on the right side of the card. Right now, there's no undo button for me because I've only typed one thing, but FYI, a lot of times when you're working with these tools, it's a lot easier if you undo early rather than like continue down something that you don't love that much. I'm gonna try something like simple. I'm gonna say like make it look pinker because pink is my favorite color. And this is not actually, this is my old name tag. But again, like when you're trying different prompts, there are like so many different styles down here that you can play around with. And so highly encourage being creative, especially with typography. I think a lot of times, especially when you're working with code generators, you're able to create typography that is a lot more interesting, a lot more exciting. And so highly recommend exploring typography, exploring the interactions. Creating a back for the card is also really cool. And so these are some prompts that you can try, but again, like be creative and try things that you might not normally try. And we're starting with this exercise because I think we've been conditioned as designers to like draw something out first and then like try to make it real. But I think a lot of working with AI tools is really kind of doing the opposite, where you kind of like say something and then see what happens and then build from what you get the first time. Because I'm going to give everyone like 15 minutes to explore. And before you share your link, this is actually really important. Before you share your link, make sure that you do not press the share button. I know it's unintuitive. The share button is not going to get you the link that you want. The publish button, however, will get you the link that you want. So I'll show this again later, but when you're ready to share your link, there are instructions in the Notion. So you're going to want to click publish and then get the link from publish, not share, even though share looks like the button you want to share. I'm going to go ahead and do some like iterating on this in the meantime. Maybe I'll say, make confetti shoot out when I click on it. Again, you can be super creative. You can even paste an image directly into the chat and kind of see how it interprets the image as well. I put some reference images in the Notion as well. So you can grab one of these like inspiration images from this Notion and try putting it in the chat and kind of see how it interprets the image. So maybe I'll try that after it's done with this one. So let's see. So you'll see that when I click on this, it's actually creating confetti. It's a little bit laggy, but it is creating confetti when I click on it, click on my card. And while y'all are working, I'm gonna like walk around and kind of get a sense of how people are doing. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand. I know this is a really big group, but I'll try to like walk around. But let's say I'll give you all like 10 minutes to explore. And then I'll show you all how to share it in the FigJam in a little bit. So let me start a little timer. If you're looking for the undo button, basically if you scroll up to the last search you had, there's like this little restore to this version and you can undo your last request. And you can also undo to a lot earlier. Another thing that might be useful to know is that if you want to iterate separately, you can duplicate your file and then you can have like multiple Figma makes at once if you're not sure which direction you want to go in. Okay, so I know we could spend a really long time iterating on this, but I'm gonna give you all like 2 more minutes. But before, I'll help some people out because I know some people are running into issues. Before I help people out, here's how you can upload your name tag to this frame. So if you go to your name tag, you're going to take a screenshot and put a screenshot into the FigJam so that we can see a preview of it. But you're also going to click the publish link, not the share link. Click the publish link and you're going to click publish. It might take a few minutes, so don't close this quite yet. And you can publish it and republish it later too. So no big deal if you publish it early. And what you're going to do is you're going to copy the link that shows up next to URL. So you're going to copy that to your clipboard and you are going to paste that inside of the FigJam. Basically, when you visit this link in your browser, you will see your name tag live on the internet on this domain. You can like share it with your friends and share it with your family. And so make sure that you are copying the published link, not the share link. So what will happen if you share the share link is that people will kind of see the entire Figma make view. So they're going to see like the chat. If you accidentally give them edit access, they can also edit the chat. And so make sure that you're sharing the published link with us so that that's what we see. And then I'll go around and help some people out. But if you're ready, feel free to upload your prototype with the link. And also please take a photo with the photo booth just so that we know who everyone is. So go ahead and do that. I'm going to peek over into the online world and kind of see how we're doing here. Nice. There's so many cool faces on people online. If you're online, you can also maybe add a little sticky note or text next to your name and maybe like say where you're joining in from, because I know we have people joining from all over the world, which is really cool. Oh my God, this is so cool. There's like a little Wordle, maybe like 50-ish of us here. And so no, wait for New York City to all join in, and also online. Oops, I just zoomed into my face. Online, make sure that you're adding your little name tags as well. And once you add your name tags, you are free to upvote other people's name tags as well. By using the sticker here, you can upvote with like a little sticker heart or a little upvote or your face. And so I'll let you upvote as many times as you want, but maybe not too many times. This is kind of chaotic, but now we have on the left, we have the New York City people, and on the right, we have the online folks. I always love doing this because it shows how creative people are and how different people's prompts can be. There's some really, really fun websites like Vaporwave Style and a lot of different cool things going on here. I'm really excited to click on, I'm gonna click on this one. This one looks like it's gonna do something fun with the animation. Whoa, so cool. I wonder, does this do anything? No, it doesn't yet, but it's like rotating. Which one? Maybe I'll click on this Tamagotchi one. Whoa. I'm curious. I don't know if the sound works because I don't have my sound on, but it's so cute. Maybe I'll choose some ones from online. Let's see. This is so cute. This is a little name tag that like flips around. All right. So now that we have everyone's name tags here, go ahead and if you press E, you'll get like the sticker thing. Maybe go around and upvote maybe like 3 to 5 of your favorite name tags, and I will select the top 5 name tags from each side and share them up on the big screen. And the people who are in New York City will also get some swag. Okay, so in New York, we're going to be giving away 5 swag packages. I guess that's what I'm calling them. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom around and try to find the ones with the most votes. It does look like people didn't scroll down as far, so make sure you scroll down too and look at the ones on the bottom. At a glance, it looks like the Tamagotchi here that I showed earlier got a lot of love. So congratulations, Claire. Claire, where are you? Do you want to say hi? Hi. If you get called, you can come up here and grab a water bottle and a pair of socks. I want to click on this Wordle one. This one also got a lot of love. Oh, this is so cute. Like it actually works. Whoa, that's so awesome. I don't know what name to do. I have to think of like a 5-letter name. Let's say Harry. That's not a very good guess because, oh, whoa. So like actually kind of works. That's cool. So this is the Wordle game. If you made this, you want to say hello. Hi. Yeah, you can come up here too and grab a water bottle and a pair of socks. This one here, Windows XP style. Nice. It always does a good job with like this like Windows. Oh, whoa. Oh my God. Wait, this is actually kind of funny. This like fatal system error. That was very unexpected. Who made this one? Hi. Feel free to come up here as well. You can grab a water bottle and a pair of socks. Let's see what else got a lot of votes. I'm really doing this really randomly because there are so many. So I'm trying to do it from a high level. It looks like this one down here, Lorraine. Oh, this is so cute. There's even a little keyboard. It looks very like Mac inspired. Do you want to say hi? Hi. You can also come up here. And then I think, how many was it? Like 4. Let's try this one here. There's like this another Windows XP styled one. Ooh, this is so fun. There's so many bright colors here. Do you want to say hello too? Where are you? Hi. You can come up here and grab some swag now or later, but yeah. Cool. So, and then I'm gonna do, I think this is the last one here. This one has a lot of love too. This one here by Chase. I recognize this photo, but this like background vaporwave photo. But it's cute. I like how you put like what you're reading, what you're watching. It's fun how these hover states have like a lot of character as well. Chase, you wanna hi? Yeah, you can also come up and grab some swag. Awesome. And then I'm gonna go ahead and move to the online folks. I really have to like duck to see my screen. So it looks like Vicky got a lot of love. Let's see what this one. Oh, this is so cool. So it writes out Vicky in like pixel characters. So cute. Let's see. Cindy. Actually, Cindy. This one looks like very Mondrian inspired, which is really fun. So cool. I opened this one already, so I won't open it again, but this one was very cool. A lot of plus ones here. I do want to open this Game Boy, so let's see what this Game Boy looks like. So cute. Very, very cool. Okay, maybe I'll open one more up here. Elena. I love how these are all moving. They're so fun. It's like a much more fun way to introduce people other than using like the generic sticky name tags. Awesome. But you all will have access to this, so feel free to go around and take a look at what other people made. I highly recommend it. I think there's a lot of creativity here in both of the Fig Jams, so definitely like hop over to the other one and check things out there. There's a lot of really cool things up here. So for the next activity, we are going to hop over to the second page in the Fig Jam. So in the Fig Jam, if you've not used Fig Jam before, there's like where it says name tags, you can switch over to the second page, which is the art archive. So go ahead and do that. There is nothing here, and that is expected. So what we're gonna make is we are going to be connecting our prototype to a Supabase database. So database is basically like a fancy spreadsheet. It allows you to store data, and you're gonna make something that looks like this. So this is basically all powered by a database. We're going to create a little art archive where you can, it's actually functioning. So you can search for like Hopper and it will pull up all the artworks by Edward Hopper. You can also filter by different places. So you can try filtering by art that was made in France. I don't know if this is going to work actually right now. I'll switch to this view for now. You can also create like a timeline view to kind of show all the artwork in a timeline. And all this right now is powered by Supabase. So you can see my database is here. And so basically all the entries here are stored in Supabase. And this is really powerful, especially if you are a product designer, because then you're able to prototype with real data. And so imagine if you could upload a CSV of like real data or like fictional data for your company and actually build prototypes with that. And so very, very cool, very powerful. And so today we'll be experimenting with using it by making a little like art archive. So what you're gonna do first is you are gonna go back to the Notion. If you lost the Notion link, let me know or ask a neighbor. It's bit.ly sept-figma-make. And we're going to be hopping over to create an art archive with Supabase. For this part, as you all probably have already realized, if you're like very ahead of what I'm doing, feel free to jump ahead in the instructions and you can go ahead of me and continue building the prototype. I'll be walking through it step by step. And so the first thing you're going to do is you are going to create a Supabase account. So you can go to supabase.com, supabase.com. And you should see a link to sign up. And Supabase is free for 2 projects, so you won't get charged today. I'm not going to create a new account right now, but I do have screenshots. So you should see something like this. It'll ask you to create a new organization. You can name it whatever you want, typically your name, org. You're going to be using a personal account, which is free, $0 a month. So make sure you create an organization. I'm going to wait a few seconds. Once you create an organization, you are going to create a new project in Supabase. So I have a free account, so I cannot create a new project, but I recommend calling your project something like Figma Makes because you can create multiple databases in each project. You should see something like this. In the example, I've named the project name Works of Art, but you can name it Figma Makes, and then you can use it for all your future Figma Make projects. You'll also want to make sure that you save your database password somewhere in like something like 1Password or LastPass. You won't need it for today, but in case you do need to make certain edits to your database, you will need the password in the future. You do not need to change any of the other settings or open up advanced configuration. I personally don't even know what half of those options mean, but you don't have to open them. Do people have a project created yet? If you can give a little thumbs up. Okay, it looks like majority. So when you go to the homepage, I actually think they might have changed the homepage from last time I realized. So if you go to the homepage, what you want to do is click on the table editor, which is on the top left. So if you hover over the sidebar, you'll see something that says table editor. And you are going to create a new table. So the new table button is right under something like a dropdown that says schema public. You can click new table. And then you can name your table something like artworks. I would make sure to name it artworks because in a prompt we're going to use in the future, where I'm going to specifically reference this database. So call it artworks. I'm calling it artworks too because I already have one called artworks. So typically, if you're using Supabase, you will create like these columns from scratch, or you're going to import data from a CSV. So today we're going to be importing data from a CSV because I don't want to spend the rest of the workshop looking for art and putting art in a database. And so in that same Notion, in step 9, you'll see a link to download my CSV file. So to download it, you can go ahead and click on the CSV file. It's called artworks_rows. Again, it's in step 9 in the Notion. It should download into your downloads folder. You're going to go back to your Supabase. And next to the columns header, there is a button that says import data from CSV. You are going to select the CSV you just downloaded. And you're going to either you can browse your files or you can drag and drop it into the table. So you should see a preview that looks like this with 14 rows of artworks. If you want a deeper dive or kind of to look at how this database works, basically there's a bunch of columns. Name is the name of the artwork, artist is the artist. There's a little description. Then there's a link to an image and a year, and then also the country the artwork was made in. Once you import in the data, you're going to click save. And you might see this thing that says no primary key selected. You can make the ID, so the ID, make that the primary key. And once you do that, you can press save, and then your new table will be created. So I know that was a lot of steps, so I'm gonna give people a minute to catch up. If you have any questions or want me to repeat something, let me know. Does anyone in New York City have any questions? Yes. Yeah. The bit.ly link is here. Any other questions in New York City? Okay, I'm gonna take a look at the chat. Yes, set the ID to be the primary key. When you're uploading the CSV, it might be because if you added like additional headers, it might be having a hard time importing. So it's hard for me to say without seeing a screenshot. So if you can't fix it, if you can paste a screenshot in the chat, if possible, that would be good. Is anyone in New York running into an error that says issues found in spreadsheet, the CSV cannot be imported into your table? Okay, I'm gonna go look at one of these and then I'm gonna try to figure it out for the online folks. Okay, so if you are running into issues, I think a few people online are running into this issue. You need to make sure that when you're importing the CSV, that you are checking the primary checkbox that's next to the ID row. And if you already created a database that's not working, what I recommend doing is I would click the ... next to your database, delete the table, start again, re-import, and then make sure you click the checkbox for primary. I don't think there's a step between. Basically, if you name your database artworks, and then you click on import data from CSV and drag in the CSV like this, and then hit save, and then click this primary checkbox and click save again, it should work. Yes. Yeah. You don't want to check every row. I'm reading some questions in the chat. You only need to check primary for the ID, but you should import every row. Um, any other questions in New York? Yes. Okay, sorry, I'm going to catch up on some of the chat questions now. Yeah, if there is an option to import the CSV before creating a table, definitely give it a go. I don't see the option on my end, but make sure when you create a new table, it should show this window, and then you can click the button that says import CSV. Usually if there is an issue with incompatible headers, it's because you need to click this checkbox that's next to primary for the first row, which is called ID. But that is usually why the rows are incompatible, is if you do not have a primary key checked. Yeah. Okay. I am going to quickly show people how to move on to the next step, and then I'll run around and help people solve their issues. So one thing to know with a lot of these AI generative tools is that they're changing like every day. And so sometimes things might work for some people and might not work for some other people. And so we'll kind of see how it goes today. And one thing I'm noticing is a lot of people are creating the table first. So they're clicking new table, doing artworks, and then saving it. But you should import the data from CSV first before saving the table if you're still stuck on this step. Okay, so in Figma Make, you're gonna go ahead and create a new Figma Make. So basically I'm gonna walk through how you can hook up your Figma Make to the Supabase. So the first thing you're going to do is you are going to go to that Notion page that I shared earlier, which is here. And you are going to copy this text here. So copy this prompt. Basically, this prompt is explaining the schema of my database. I noticed that some of you did not name your database artworks. So make sure that you name your database artwork or change the name of the database here to be whatever your database is. And what you're going to do next is you're going to open up my Figma file, which is also linked here. And you're going to create a copy of it. So you can create a copy by clicking on the dropdown that's next to this text and saying duplicate. So make a copy of my Figma file. This will allow you to edit the Figma file however you wish. So you're going to copy this, and then you're going to copy the frame. So don't copy the link to the frame, copy the frame. So you're going to click on the frame name, do Command C, and then you're going to go back to your Figma Make and paste this in the chat. One thing I'm actually going to ask you all to do first is that I just remembered because they changed this flow recently is you're going to go back to your name tag for a second. So go back to your name tag Figma Make. And you're going to click on Make Settings, which is in the top right. You're going to, in the bottom, you'll see that there's one integration available, which is Supabase. So in Make Settings, which is right next to the Publish button, you're going to click on Supabase, and you're going to make sure to connect your account first here. So this might not be in the instructions because they changed the flow recently, but go back to your name tag, click on Settings, click on Supabase, and I don't know what it looks like now, but make sure to first connect your project to Supabase before doing the next steps. So it might take a second, but make sure your Supabase is connected here. Yeah, so if you go back to your name tag and then click on the settings icon on the top right of Figma Make, on the left side, you'll see Supabase as an integration, and make sure to log in with your Supabase account. They had a slightly different UI the last time I ran this workshop, so I'm changing it up a little bit. And this just makes sure that your Figma Make account is attached to Supabase for the next flow. After it's connected, you're going to go back to the page here, the new Figma Make page. And remember to copy that frame from the Notion, not from the Notion, from the Figma file. And you're going to copy this prompt that I put down here into the chat. And again, at the top, you'll see that it says like from my existing database called Artworks. If your database is called something other than Artworks, make sure to change the name here to be something other than Artworks. One small note, in Supabase, you can click on the ... next to your database, and you can copy this table schema, which basically will tell Figma Make how your table is structured. So for future projects, if you're wondering like how I got this information, you can basically click on the ... and click on copy table schema and it'll give it to you. So if your table is named something really random, I would recommend maybe doing that and pasting it here just so that we ensure that it is more likely to work. Then after you do that, you're gonna hit this button here and you're gonna cross your fingers and hope that it works. Basically, what it should do after it's done thinking is it's going to ask me which Supabase project that I want to connect with. Mine just did something really funky. I'm not sure what exactly happened, but it should work because I tried it an hour ago. So give me 1 second. So it's trying to make my gallery interactive. It might take a little bit just because it's a little bit of a complicated ask. But you should get something like, I'll show you my example from earlier. Is it this one? Maybe. You should see like a little pop-up like this that says connect to Supabase, and you should be able to choose your project that you want to connect to. I think my Figma Make glitched out, so I'm gonna restart this one for a second. Maybe I'll wait for it and see if it's okay. I think the Wi-Fi might be struggling just a little bit because we have so many people here. Okay, so mine is finally asking for the project. I'm gonna go ahead and select the Figma Makes project. This is like a new thing it says where it says canceled, but it's not actually canceling. It worked earlier. So later it said that it was working. So don't worry if it says canceled because it did that to me too and it worked fine afterwards. If you are running out of the credits and you are online, it might be because your seat is view only in your own workspace. And to fix that, you can go to home, go to admin, and convert your personal seat to be a full seat in Figma. It is working pretty slow today, so hopefully we'll see something very, very soon. Okay, here's one. So you notice here that it's connected to my database and it's showing artwork directly from my database. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a pause and help some people out because I know there's probably a lot of questions out there. Oh, thank you. Yeah. For those of you online, we are taking like a quick pizza break. So that's why there's a lot of mumbling going on, but we'll get back to it in a little bit. And if you want to keep iterating, keep iterating. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So I think most of you have your art archive ready. And so if you have your art archive ready, now is time to iterate on it more. And so one of the ways you can iterate on it is you can take that Figma that we had earlier and you can try making edits to design and paste a new design into the chat and try to get it to create your new design based on your Figma file instead of mine. That's one option. Other things you can do are you can try one of the prompts that I've listed in Notion. So something that I created that I thought was fun was I was able to create like a little color palette generator. And so I'm gonna go ahead and paste this prompt in, generate a color palette for each work of art, put swatches under each artwork and kind of see how it works. You can get as creative as you want, explore the layout, explore adding different features. It's really up to you. And after you're done exploring, you're going to put your final art archive in the FigJam. And so for the sake of time, we're gonna spend maybe like 7 more minutes iterating. And so spend 7 minutes iterating on your archive, add features, change up the design a little bit from my design, change up the typography, really do anything. And then we'll kind of take a look at what we all did in FigJam. I know that some of you might still be running into issues, so I'm going to be like bopping around, helping people with issues here. So if you have any issues that you're running into, feel free to raise your hand and I can try to help you out. Yeah, sure. So the question was, for those of you who are remote, how did I learn about the Supabase integration? And honestly, it was like a relatively new feature they added really recently. There's very little documentation. There's like one page on the internet about it. And I basically tried it out and that was it. So unfortunately, not a lot of information, but you can learn about Supabase as a tool. And then if you learn about Supabase as a tool, then you can learn how to use it better in Figma Make. But it's basically like a really fancy spreadsheet. Yeah. Also, I know that a few of you have been running into errors and you're not sure what to do when you see an error. And in that same notion, there is a debugging cheat sheet. And basically, if you're stuck on something, you can try one of these prompts to try to get Figma to fix it. A lot of times, if you see an error, I won't be able to fix the error, but Figma Make will be able to fix it. So you can tell it that something's not working. So you can say, hey, I don't see the correct colors, and try to get it to fix it because it's much more likely to fix it than I am to fix it. And also right now, Figma Make is letting you basically do unlimited prompts. And so if something isn't working, you can always start a new make and then try again. A lot of times that is the solution to the problem. And when you paste your little art archives, don't forget to publish it if you can, and then share the link and maybe add a sticky note with the shortcut S so that we know who made it. Someone just asked me a good question. So when you publish your website, on Figma Make, it doesn't show like a cool preview of what your website looks like. And if you want to add a preview in Figma Make, you can click on Make Settings and you can scroll down and there's a section that says Images. So you can add like a favicon and you can also add a social sharing image so that when you add a social sharing image, your link preview inside FigJam or anywhere else will have that image showing up there. And so feel free to add that if you want. The other thing that I also did not mention is that you can customize the domain of your Figma Make also in settings. So in the section that says domains, you can create your own domain. And mine doesn't show the option because I haven't published this website yet, but there will be an option here that will let you customize the Figma site name. And it looks like we have a 30 seconds. The reason I'm rushing everyone a little bit is because I want to show you how to use a design library and design system in your mockup because I know that is a very highly requested thing that people want to do. And so go ahead and I'm going to give you one more minute. Paste your final creation inside the FigJam. I always love doing these workshops with designers because I feel like you get so many different variations of the same thing, which is really, really cool. Everyone is like super creative and tries a lot of different things, even though the prompts are the same. This one looks really cool, so I'm gonna try clicking on it. Let's see, this one looks like it might be like 3D. Oh, okay, actually, is there a 3D view? Oh, gallery mode. Let's see. Ooh, so cool. So you can see all the artwork in the gallery. Who made this one? No one wants to raise their hand. Are you using Three.js or is it like a image in the background? You don't know? Okay. Okay. If you want it to be like actually like in a 3D room, if you want to you can try asking it to use Three.js to make it actually be in a 3D room and see how it does. It's an idea. Some really cool ones over here. I love how people are exploring so many different things. Ooh, this one's also very cool. Is there a link yet? Looks like a gallery mock-up. Another Windows inspired interface here. Oh, nice. The circle. It's pretty cool. I can kind of imagine how this works. Like maybe when you go like this, it like rotates. Again, go ahead and paste your work in here if you haven't already. We won't have time to look through all these right now, but definitely go back and take a look at some of the cool things that other people made and maybe be inspired by what they made. This one is cool. There's like a whole like filters on the left side. I'm gonna go ahead and click it and see. Very cool. This one is by someone online. All right. For the sake of time, I could spend a really long time looking at this. For the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the final part of today's workshop, which is where you're going to learn how to get your design library working with Figma Make. So I will caveat that the design library to Figma Make thing is not working perfectly yet, but hopefully you'll kind of get a sense of how well it's working right now. There are two options for this portion of the workshop. You can either, so again, back to the Notion, you can either use your own design library or you can use the Figma simple design system. One thing to note is that if you are using your own design system, I highly recommend copying like a smaller subset of your design system to use for now, because if you have a ginormous design system, it's going to take forever to like get set up. So I would recommend like maybe copying a few buttons and a few things and publishing that first, because it might take too long to publish if you use your own design system. If you are using the Figma Make or the Figma Simple Design System, you are going to click the little drop down that is next to the title, and you're going to click duplicate so that you get a copy of the Figma Simple Design System. Make sure to copy it into the team that you are using for this workshop where you have Pro. And again, the link for that design library is in the Notion. And so make sure to make a copy of this. This is my copy. So go ahead and click the drop down and then click duplicate to make a copy of this for your own. And once you have a copy, what you're going to do is you're going to do Command/ to open up the Figma like search panel thing. So Command/, and you're going to search for libraries and hit return. So Command/, search for libraries and hit return. And you're going to click publish for your design library. So mine is already published, so there's no changes, but you need to publish your design library first before you're able to use it in Figma Make. And when you publish it, it should take maybe like, it could take 2 minutes. So it might take a few minutes to publish. If you're using your own design system again, I highly recommend like pulling a few components out so that there aren't like a million components sitting there. Once your library is published, you will need to open up this page again, so this little modal again, and you're going to click the button that says export to Figma Make. I'm going to go ahead and show you like how you can use it, and then I can catch you up later if you need help getting caught up. So when you create a new Figma Make, you'll notice that there's a button down here that says select a library. And you'll notice that my Figma Make workshop library is right here. So I can click this and I can say something simple like make a landing page using my design library. That's one option of something you can do. I'm gonna have this load in the background while I do another prompt. So I'm gonna create a new make. And another thing you can do is if you're using the simple design system, you can go to the examples page and you can pull this frame here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this frame. And I'm going to say, I'm going to paste it into the chat. I'm going to select my design library, Figma Make Workshop Simple Design System. I'm going to say, make this interactive using my design library. I don't think you need to say using my design library. I'm kind of just saying it just in case. And so it might take a second, but in theory, it should create an interactive version of that frame I put in, or it should create a landing page based on the components that are in my design system. A few notes about using Figma Make and your design system is that you should use auto layout. If you don't use auto layout, then the execution will be less good. So it does care about how you're creating your files. But other than that, if your components are set up pretty well, it should do an okay job right now. I know it's like still a work in progress, but kind of depending on your design system and how complicated it is, it might have an easier or a harder time. So you're probably still waiting for your design library to publish. But again, once you have it published, you can go to library, click publish again, and then you should see a button that says export to Figma Make. And that's how you can get your library inside the Figma Make search window. So you'll notice here, basically it used my design system to create this landing page. And so these are all components from the simple Figma design system. And so if you have your own design system, you can imagine it creating things based on your design system or even based on these Figma mockups. So I'm gonna wait for this one to load. I tested this one earlier and it did a pretty good job. So hopefully it does a good job for the live demo today. So this is what my mockup looked like. And this is what the implemented version looks like. There's like a chaotic situation going on down here, but you'll notice that it did a okay job. So you'll see that at least the header area, it seemed to recreate pretty exactly. And there's potentially like some issues down here with this component. So this was a pre-created example from Figma that I put into this Figma Make. And so go ahead and explore and try to create a design using the design library. Does anyone have any questions? The question was, does Figma provide any guidance for how to set up your design system in order to better support Figma Make? And I think not yet. There isn't like a strong, they don't have a lot of documentation quite yet because it's so early. But I think the biggest things are to follow like generally good Figma design practices. So like use auto layout, make sure like things are labeled correctly. Try like resizing your frame and seeing if like things resize with it. I think that's like a really good starting point. And again, this is all really, really new. So all of you are using like an extremely new tool that's going to improve so much in the next 6 months. And so I can imagine things getting a lot easier. Yeah. I'm going to answer a few questions in the chat out loud. Is there a way to have Figma clean up your auto layout to prep for Figma Make? I don't think so right now. If you're not already using auto layout, I highly recommend learning how to use it because it will make your life a lot easier than grouping things together. Another question is, can you go from Figma Make to a Figma Frame? That is not possible yet. I know a lot of people really want that to be possible, but it is not possible yet. The thing that's the closest to being able to edit, like the way you would maybe edit a specific thing in Figma Make, is on the bottom right or bottom left. There's this button that says point and edit. So there's a button that says point and edit, and you can click this button and you can click on specific things in the design and it will let you change certain elements. So for example, I'm like changing the font, I'm making it bigger, I'm making it bold, stuff like that. And so if you do want to use more like of a what you see is what you get WYSIWYG interface, you can use this point and click editor to make like very specific changes. Yeah, the question was, does Figma have any guidance on prompt engineering? I don't know if they specifically do, but there's a lot of guidance about prompt engineering online in general. And so you definitely can follow like the same principles. So some principles are be specific about the asks you want, and also don't try to ask for too much at a time. I have noticed, however, that Figma Make is pretty good at dealing with like a numbered list. So if you ask it to do 5 things and number them, it will almost always do all 5 of them. So if you gave it a list of like 20 things, it would probably forget the last half. But if you do give it a numbered list, it does do pretty well. Yeah, sure. So the question for the people who are online is, do you suggest like starting small, like creating one button first and then kind of building around that and adding more components? And so typically when you're working with something like Figma Make, starting small is good. So one thing that I did that is kind of like, I wouldn't be doing this if I wasn't doing a demo, but I'd probably divide this into sections. So I'd probably be like, implement the header first, then implement this, then implement this. And it's much more likely to do a good job than if I was like, do the entire thing. So if you have like a really long page or something, it's not going to do a good job if you tell it to implement the entire thing at once. And so starting small definitely helps because then it doesn't get as overwhelmed. Yeah, so you can ask it to make things all aligned. I do think that working with these AI tools, the way that you work, there's like 2 ways people like to work. Like some people like to work big picture first, and then they kind of like do all the little edits to make it more like pixel perfect. And other people like to build it from the ground up. And I think it really depends on your style of working. So personally, I like to think about like the bigger picture first, and then I'll like kind of get inspired by the ideas it creates, and then I'll kind of like go back and make it something that I like. And other designers are like, I need to use my component. I need to use all my components, and then they like build it that way. So it kind of depends on what type of designer you are. Yeah. 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 So there's this new feature that I have not experimented with that I looked at today. But in settings here, you'll see that there's an edit guidelines feature. And this basically allows you to add rules for Figma Make. So I could see, I haven't tried it yet, but I could see if you're using a design system, you can say like always use type styles from my design set system, never stray from that. If you notice that Figma Make is making a lot of the same errors or same things with your design, you can put a rule here and make sure that it never does that ever again. So for example, like a lot of these AI tools love making a like ugly purple gradient. If you really don't like that, you can put it here and say like never make an ugly purple gradient and hope that it never gets made. I'm gonna look at some questions in the chat here. If there are any. I can't answer a lot of these. A lot of these are about like design systems and like how you can take code and then put it into Figma Make. That's not super possible quite yet. Although if you do find a code snippet online for something really cool, you can put it in the chat and it will use it as inspiration. So if you're like looking at a library like 3JS, which does like 3D stuff, you can put the code snippet directly in the chat and it will use it to create your prototype. Awesome. So that's all I have for you all today. And you're welcome to hang out for a little bit, come up and ask me any questions. But thank you so much for joining. And I hope that you enjoyed exploring Figma Make. And if you tried the free like pro account today, you'll get like, I think maybe 1 weekish of playing around with it. So definitely continue to play around with Figma Make and you can make a lot of really cool things. So again, yeah, thank you so much.